Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Welcome. Hello, and welcome to LeadHerSpace. Hello, come on in. Like, click, share. I know y'all have been hearing that for a year and a half now. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Like, click, and share. Like, click, and share. I know y'all have been hearing that for the last year and a half. We miss you guys. We miss you. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining LeadHerSpace. Hello. Like, click, and share. We would love for you to like, click, and share. Tonight's going to be wonderful. Yes, come join us. Hello, happy Thursday. Happy almost end of July. Hello, come on in. Hit the like button, hit the click button, the share, like, love, share. Share with someone. It's going to be an amazing night tonight. So come on in. Welcome to LeadHerSpace chat. Good evening and welcome back, everybody, to LeadHerSpace, where we are empowering, we are enhancing, and we are engaging women to lead. Oh my goodness, we have missed each of you, but we all understand the notion of self-care. We posted something earlier this month about self-care, and so that's what we have endeavored to do over the last 2 months. So we have certainly missed you these last 2 months, but we knew how important it was for you to take a break and to really get that self-care. So we are back. We're excited. Please continue to share with your friends, your colleagues, and other women about the work that we're doing in LeadHerSpace. As we get ready to wind up a year, you know what we have been doing? I think LeadHerSpace will celebrate its 1 year in October. Is that right, Dr. Walker? I think so.
Yeah. We're getting close. It's between September and October. I think we had our first session together last September.
Yes. So we are excited about what's going to happen in year 2. We have been planning. We have been thinking about you. And so we are excited about what's going to happen in years 2. So stay tuned. As always, I would love to thank my co-founder and co-host, my friend and colleague, Dr. LaShante Walker, for the journey. It's been an amazing journey. And so as a part of Dr. Walker's journey and my journey of self-care, we've been getting hashtag Find 2021. That's really her hashtag, but I just stole it for tonight. But that's what some of our self-care has been around. I've seen Dr. Walker. She's been posting these wonderful golf pictures and just working out, and we're getting our minds and body in shape. Just to continue to get our minds and body in shape. But listen, I know that you all are excited about tonight because we've been sharing, we've been talking. And so I hope that you have come ready to hear about how you retool your, so you can progress towards your career changes or movement and really go after what your heart is seeking. We have a special guest, a wonderful guest tonight that's going to join us, Miss Jasmine T. Agnew. She has so many credentials behind her name, MTS, MHIM. She has like 1,000 initials, all A through Z. If it's there, she has it. But she's an award-winning educator, author, and entrepreneur. She is the program chair of the Health Informatics and Management program at Western Governors. So we in the School of Health Professions. So we are excited to welcome Jasmine. We're so excited to have you here at LeadHerSpace. Thank you, Jasmine, for being with us tonight. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you all for having me.
Wonderful. So Jasmine, we're going to jump right in because I know people are excited. They're welcoming. They're ready. We see people already. I've already started receiving messages about questions that people have, but we're going to jump right in. Tell us about yourself and why did you decide to move beyond your current degree to pursue higher education?
Okay, well, just a little bit about me. I am a native of Baldwin, Mississippi. I graduated from Itawamba Community College with my 2-year degree, technical degree. Went to work and then decided that I wanted to contribute more to the field. So I went back. Once my son went to kindergarten, I went back to school. And so I went back and got my bachelor's in health information management. And I got my master's in health informatics and information management. Then I went to seminary because I am a bivocational pastor. And so I went to seminary and got a master's in theological studies and was balancing my time between the two. And then they came out with this wonderful thing called an electronic health record. So I left the church full time, went back to healthcare, have spent a lot of time in curriculum development and training for the workforce. And once I got there, I wanted to be able to teach people before they got to the workplace. So I transitioned from the healthcare facility into higher education and started out as an evaluator, just evaluating in a disaggregate model, grading papers all day. Even when I got there, it kind of helped me realize I'm an educator. And so I went and I was course faculty. I was in the course faculty role for a short time. And then they said, have you ever thought about curriculum development for higher education? I was like, well, absolutely not, but I can. And so I moved into the curriculum manager job and was there until I was promoted to the program chair. So I am an educator when it comes to healthcare. I transitioned into higher education because I wanted to be a part of changing the trajectory for people that wanted to pursue education to change their quality of life. My degree in my seminary degree, I'm on the education committee for new pastors. And so I help train them to get ready for their pastoral role. And so whatever I'm doing, I'm educating somebody. That's what I like to do. So that is kind of what prompted me to switch over to higher education.
Wow, I'm going to let Dr. Walker in because I know, when you said that seminary, I know that my sister and colleague, her eyes, because I'm going to let her share again for those who may not know Dr. Walker's background and where she has come from. So Dr. Walker, come and tell us a little bit about your background, just to refresh your background and how it aligns with Jasmine's background and even the shift that you've made in the last 2 years.
Sure, I'm so excited. And when I saw all of your mini credentials, I noticed that you had an MTS degree. And so that's the reason I moved to Nashville, is to pursue my MTS degree at Vanderbilt Divinity School. So that took place about 11 years ago, and it's been a great journey. But even before then, I was in full-time ministry. I'm an ordained minister, and it's been an incredible journey. But one of the things that Divinity School did for me was that it opened up so many other opportunities and possibilities for me to then go into higher education. And so what I thought was just going to be a simple retooling based on my school and being able to do curriculum work and Christian education, it turned into this call that expanded beyond the church walls and our church communities into higher ed. And I was like, this is it. I want to work at Christian-based institutions. And then I started that journey, and it was a wonderful 7 years at a small Christian liberal arts school. And after my final position as a provost, at the college, I decided to venture out, and this is a sign behind me, Walker Vision Consulting, where I'm able to coach with executive coaching, do leadership development, but I still go hard and preach and teach and do those other things. And so it's really the best of both worlds. I get to teach, I get to educate, I get to minister to people, but at the end of the day, every single day I have the opportunity to impact the lives of people. And so, like I tell those that I mentor, we're called to love people. We're called to help people get in contact with their purpose and change lives. And that's what I get to do every day. And the call to ministry allowed me to do that. So I was excited to see, and I'm sure you have a similar take on it with your MTS background and as a bivocational pastor.
Yeah, so go ahead.
And I really enjoyed it. And just kind of, just to piggyback on what you just said, just to be able to, find that balance between being an educator but still being able to walk in that calling, it was an amazing experience. I'm on supernumerary status right now, is what we call it in the Methodist Church, until I finish my doctoral degree. But then I'm going back. That's the plan. So we'll get back to doing things as we used to.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, I want to stay right there. And I know that Dr. Walker, she's probably saying, I'm not supposed to be interviewed, but to both of you, because you all work bivocational. And I would love to hear from both of you to tell the women what, or people, period, how that really works, and how you can navigate balancing your family, balancing bivocational work and school and educating. Because as people are thinking about, should I go back to school or should I change careers completely, because I'm really not happy with this position. I'm really not happy where I am. I'm not making the money that I'm supposed to make or I would like to make. All of those things that people struggle with, the fear of change, sometimes you have to do it at the same time. And that's where this bivocational work comes in. So if you ladies, you know, would share about how does that journey of balance work? I mean, is it 50-50? Is it 75-25? What does it look like? And how can you navigate through that path when you're trying to retool or think about going back to school?
You know, I'm sure people could debate me on this, but some people are bivocational by choice, and some people are bivocational because they have no other choice. And so that's just the truth of the matter. For some pastors, their religious communities may not be able to support them full time and they have to work. But some pastors may have other passions, or some who have the call to ministry. Let's just say ordained ministers. You may not be pastoring a church, but there's a call for something different. And I used to teach a class called the Foundations of Vocation to all of the incoming freshmen, college students. And I used this book as one of my texts, and it was called Holy Play. And there was this question, it's by Kirk Byron Jones. And it's this question: can you hold more than one flame of passion at one time? And I used to tell my students, if you can juggle, you can. But there also needs to be a common thread, in my opinion, to connect those burning passions so that you don't experience burnout. And oftentimes we try to do things that are just drastically different. But if you can find a fit where there's an organic passion that you have, and there's a common thread or commonality of all the things you can balance, and it doesn't have to be 50-50. This may be 30, this may be 20, this may be 50, or however it comes out. But you can do more than one thing at one time. But it needs to be a burning passion and something that becomes organic to you. And I'll let Jasmine speak some more to that, but that's just my little take on being a bivocational minister or pastor.
Right, I absolutely agree. In the Methodist Church, the CME Church is where I had my foundation. We did not have churches that could support full-time ministry. And so being a bivocational pastor, I really didn't have a choice. You know, being, I had at the time, I had a son that was in middle school and elementary school. I mean, he's grown now, but at the time, I had to work. I had to take care of my responsibilities, and those were my passions. But the common thread was my love for education, my love for shaping the minds of people. I have a makeup artist certification that I got. My passion was teaching women how to enhance their natural beauty and not to paint on the face. Like I said, I loved health information management. My passion was to educate people on how they can be in healthcare, be a major contributor, and if they don't necessarily want to go into patient care. My love and my passion was educating people about not just religion, but relationship. So the common thread is that it was my joy to help change the minds of people. That's what made juggling easy for me. I was doing things that I love to do.
I swear we are twins.
Yes.
When you said the makeup, I was like, you know what? I just signed up for my certification to get a makeup artist, but I've been a Mary Kay consultant for like 15 years. So it's so funny to hear your background and how ours are so aligned. But we're just called to people, called to inform, called to teach. And it goes in so many different areas and facets, but you know the calling and you know the assignment.
Right. And I used to host an event in my house, makeup and mimosas, and women used to sign. I would like post tickets and say, hey, if you guys want to come, and it'd sell out in less than 2 or 3 hours because people like to come. And that was a part of ministry for me. That was a part of helping these women that have oftentimes hid behind tons of makeup. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Let me show you how to enhance what you already have. And so it just was a wonderful experience for me.
Ooh, can you talk some more about that? Like it was ministry for you? Because I don't think people who may not get that when they hear you saying it's ministry for you, because I tell people when I'm doing executive coaching, I don't have to mention scripture. I don't have to mention anything about my religious background, but it is ministry for me. Every single time I get on Zoom or I get on a call or I'm doing a discussion or a leadership teaching or public speaking, it's still ministry. Talk some more about that.
This is one of my favorite books by Bob Roberts called Transformation, How Local Churches Transform Lives in the World. And one of the things that he wrote about was, how do we reach meet the needs of people and never mention scripture? We never go in and have Bible verses, but we show them through our acts and what it is that we do, how we tend to them and how we care for them, how we deal with vulnerable populations. And so for me, ministry meant reaching out to people that couldn't get what they needed in the four walls of the church and being that for them. And I just established a lot of good relationships outside of the pulpit because it was more about, let me minister to you where you need it, even if going to every book in the New Testament is not what you need right now. Sometimes they just need that personal touch. And so I was able to grant that. And that's the same thing that I do at the university. We are program chairs at our university. Not many of them have a lot of personal connections. We have no teaching responsibility as a program chair at Western Governors, but I still make it a point that every month I reach out to my new students. When I find them on LinkedIn, I send them a connection. If they need something, I try to help them to find their externship sites and things like that, because that to me is a part of ministry, because everybody needs somebody that is going to help them get to where they're intended to go. I remember, just to share a little bit about my story, when I was 17 years old, that was when I got pregnant with my son. And I was wondering, what exactly am I going to be able to do to help get my son, to take care of myself and take care of my son? Had it not been for my mentors that said, follow me, let me help you get to where you need to go, I wouldn't be able. And so this for me is paying it forward, whether I'm in the pulpit, in the classroom, or in my kitchen, teaching somebody how to do a cut crease. It is about helping people get to where they need to be.
Yes, come through cut crease. I was trying to do a cut crease today. I think it's important because I've had this conversation, and as we kind of segue into making the decision on retooling or schooling, because there are some people who may have a degree, but they don't have a job.
Right.
They may have a passion, but they don't have certification or experience in the area. Let's talk a little bit more about what it looks like to retool for the next phase of your life. Like, you know what you want to do, but how do you get started? Like, what are some first steps?
Okay. What I always advise people to do, depending on what it is that your passion is, if you can afford, or if you can, and not just financially, but the time to go back and get education, then by all means go that route. But if not, there are certifications. The difference in credentials and certification, I'm sure both of you know, is credentials are associated with academic programs. Certifications are associated with experience and what you know how to do those skills. And sometimes if it's a micro credential, it's a universal skill that you'll need to use wherever you go. I always encourage people, consider whether you have the time and the energy to devote to going back and getting a second associate degree or a second bachelor's or even a second master's, or would you like to look at certifications that can help you get to where you want to be? I have certifications in business intelligence, in being a modern credential trainer. I have it in revenue cycle. All of these things, I can go and I can work in that, but I also have these degrees that I can work in as well. So for me, it was about what can I earn? What certifications can I earn that if I decide to leave higher education today, I can go and work in another area because that's where my expertise is. And so that is what I always encourage people to do. count up what it is that you can invest. Are you willing to invest another year, 2 years, 3 years for your education? Or would it be better for you to go to a boot camp and get a certification that will have you work ready and to go into the field in 6 months or less?
So I want you to stay right there and talk a little bit more about certifications. There are people who are thinking, where do I start? How do I look to find what certifications are needed or what certifications I can do? Do I need to have a bachelor's degree to get a certification, or, with my high school diploma, can I get a certification? So can you really talk about the value of certification versus a degree, or should people try to go for a degree, a bachelor's degree, associate degree?
I think that it also depends on what they want to do. The first thing that I do is I tell people to go to Indeed and find the job that you would like. And when you find the job that you would like, see what they require. If they don't require an education, a degree, and they require certification, if you want to be qualified for not only that job or jobs like that, give them what they ask for. Obtain the certification that they ask you for. But if you want this job and it says bachelor's degree preferred or associate degree preferred, it's preferred. While it didn't say it's required, it would probably be in your best interest that if you have the time and the money to invest in it. So really, it has to do with your vision and where it is that you want to go. For instance, my position as a program chair, it required a doctoral degree. I wasn't necessarily ready to go back to get my doctoral degree, but I wanted the job. So when I was hired, I knew I got to go back to schooling and work on my doctorate. And so the job that I prayed for many, many years ago was, I want to be a program chair. I want to be able to help people that are looking for, trying to find their way in health information. But if I ask for it, I need to do what I need to do to get prepared for it. So that's what I tell people, figure out what it is you want to do, and then we can help you get to where you need to be and get the credentials or the certifications to get there. One of the things that my business, what we do is career pathways, and we help people. You tell me what you want to do, I can give you pathways on how to get there, how to get what certifications, what credentials you need, and we can get your resume together, and I'll walk with you through the process from start to finish. But you've got to be willing to invest what it takes to get there.
Are you sure you and Dr. Walker are not twins? Because her consulting company.
I think we're related.
Y'all are related
so many
somehow in so many ways. When you just said that whole walkthrough, oh my goodness, that is just amazing. But one of the things that you said was very key. You said prepare. And so you mentioned two major things. Go and find the job that you want and figure out what it takes before you even begin to apply. Figure out the qualifications. But I heard you also say something really you didn't say, but you said it. So you knew what you wanted to do, and you started following people on LinkedIn. You're building contacts. So you're looking at people who may have done jobs like you wanted to do, and you go back and search and say, hey, this person was a program director before. How did she or he get there? What are some of the steps that he or she took in order to get there? So thinking about that, and people considering that they're trying to transition, what are some of the fields now? What are some of the trending or hot topics? If there are people out here that say, I want to change, but I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm not sure what I'm capable of doing. I know I can do clerical stuff. I can do administration. I'm good with organization. I'm good with writing, but I'm not really comfortable where I am. How can people start to assess where they could go, what their potentials are, and what are some of those hot spots now, high areas of need?
Okay. Well, in order for you to figure out what you want to do, I sit them down and do the same thing I did for my son. Let's take this career assessment to see what your interests are. And then we've used that as the starting point. Now, the hot topics right now, in health informatics and health data analytics, that is where a lot of places are going. When you can use healthcare data for decision-making and patient outcomes, a lot of people are looking for ways to get into that field. And not everybody can go back to school and get a master's in health informatics or health data informatics, but you can study for one of these certifications. So again, just to piggyback, how much are you willing to invest in yourself to get to this hot topic? A lot of people are still going into nursing, but with the pandemic, you can see that a lot of people are moving away from bedside nursing and moving into nursing informatics. So again, informatics and healthcare data analytics is very important right now in the field. I can tell you about education, but one thing that I can say about educators is that most of the educators I know never knew how to transition from classroom teaching to online teaching, which was required with the pandemic. So education technology is definitely an area that is hot because people need to learn how to transition. I think that a lot of educators didn't understand that while you may be dynamic standing in front of your classroom, how can you convey those same messages and be equally effective when you're now on Zoom? And do you understand the technology enough to be effective, or are you clicking around and confusing the students too?
So, there are a lot of people on here, and since you brought up online education, there are a lot of people that are on here, and some people wrestle with, are online education degrees valuable? Are they valued? Are people doing really well, or is it just a fly by night? So I want to open up to both you and Dr. Walker, as former provost, about your thoughts on online education. And, is it just a profit, or is there real value to online education? Should you be okay with going to get your degree or certification online? Is it equally valued as people who go to school face to face?
You want me to tackle it first?
Sure, go right ahead. Yes, ma'am.
So when people ask me that question, I've always answered in this manner. I take nothing away from people wanting to retool by going to an online degree program. However, there's a difference between the online degree programs that you have at your brick and mortar schools that have campus, like on campus offerings, and your for-profit schools that everything is online. It's vastly different. Um, and that's a whole nother conversation. I may segue and talk about that a little bit more, but I say this to people. You can go to the large online schools if you're already in your field. For example, you're working for a large corporation and you may be working in the business office or HR, and you want to excel in your career. And they tell you, in order to get a promotion, you need a master's degree or you need some type of professional or graduate degree. That is the perfect scenario for you to go to a total online degree program because it fits your schedule. It's at night. However, if you have never worked in a particular field and decide overnight you are going to go into this new field, because a lot of people do it with education, and you decide, I'm gonna go get this online degree at this for-profit school, you have no experience, no mentors, no background. And I ask the question to the people that I mentor, and I hear these wild stories, and I say, well, who are you connected to? And why are you getting this degree? And what are you doing? Because they have no foundation and no connection to it. So it doesn't make sense because they have no opportunity for internships. They end up getting into a lot of debt, and there's no connection. And so then they wonder, after they say, well, I have my doctorate degree from this online institution and I can't find a job. Where there's a reason you can't find a job, because a lot of these situations don't allow you to gain the experience that you need to match the degree. And so, Reverend Agnew, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more about that, but I can get on a soapbox about that because I have been cornered in being asked that question about these online or for-profit schools, and things have changed, but that's just my take on it.
My experience has been that my program is more of a feeder program for people that have an associate degree in health information, so that when they come to the program, they've got experience in the field. We also made changes to our admissions requirements so that you had to either come in with that associate degree or come in with experience in the field. Because like you said, you don't want to get this degree And then when you finish, you're unable to, not only are you unable to find your internship, but you're unable to find a job because all you know is textbook. The good thing is that the institution where I work is competency based. So we're not the traditional based model where you have your curriculum and you develop your curriculum from, and you develop your curriculum, then you develop your assessments and your competencies from your curriculum. We measure the needs of the workforce. Then we take those needs and develop assessments based on what they need. And then we have our outcomes and objectives based on the needs of the workforce. And once we have that in place, then we bring in the learning resources to support those assessments so that when those students leave, even if they don't have a lot of experience in the field, they know how to do things because they've proven competency based on the needs of the workforce. That's the difference. If you go to a school that does not require you to have any experience in the field, and they do not require you to know anything about what you're getting into, and you're just getting a degree, you're going to face some issues when you get out because you're not going to know exactly what you're looking for. But if you come in and you say, I have 2 years of experience in the field, most of the positions that I look for have bachelor's degree preferred. Not required all the time, but preferred. So I need to be able to get a level up on the other people that are competing for this job. So they come and they get this bachelor's degree. That's the difference in the traditional model and the competency-based model. The competency-based model is actually designed for people that may not have as much experience in the field, but they have enough to build on that foundation to be successful once they finish. So it just depends on, and the other thing is, it depends on where you go. I will be the first to say, and I probably will get a lot of flack for this, I am not a fan of the for-profits. You know, a lot of my colleagues went to a for-profit that had like classes that lasted 8 weeks, and they breezed through that master's. I went to the University of Tennessee, and there was a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears on that degree from the University of Tennessee. But it didn't cost as much, and I was able to progress effectively and to learn exactly what I needed to go to get my degree. So I'm a proponent of brick and mortar with the online component, not necessarily strictly online schools that may not give students that concierge level of student services that they need to be successful.
Perfect. Yes, that's exactly how I feel about it. There are plenty of reputable institutions that now have online education available, but there's a vast difference between those who just advertise, well, you can get this degree, in so many years or what have you, without the experience of, like you said, student services, the student support that you need, and just when people look at your resume, you want some reputable references,
Right.
and institutions backing you.
Right.
And that's helpful for people to hear. And when they make their decision, and like I said in the beginning, if you're already in your field and it's simply for a promotion on your job, those types of total online degree programs may be the avenue that you want to go down. But if you're just trying to break through into that field, that may not be the correct avenue for it. You want to go, like you said, to a competency-based program, or a program that would ensure that you have internships, externships, opportunities for you to gain experience to go along with the pedagogical information that you're going to receive.
Right. And like my program not only has programmatic accreditation, but we have 2 internship, one technical and one managerial that they have to complete. And with competency-based education, there are no quizzes, no group projects. It is, you go through this course material and you have to write a paper. And you have to, and in that paper, I have to know that you've proven competency because you have a full understanding of the concepts and theories applied to practice. So this is not something for you to do for fun. This is something for you to do if you really want to. If you really want to do this, you can do it. But it's
like
not.
Morehouse School of Medicine. Oh,
Right.
here it is. Morehouse School of Medicine, where we're leading the advancement and creation of health equity. So I just had to plug that in. One of the things that you both said, it's what people, and I hope that, as you all are taking notes and really listening, is that you've got to do your research.
Mhm.
You've got to think about the education that you want in the school to make sure they meet the needs that you really have. And not just, I'm going to pay a lot of money, be in a lot of debt, and then have a degree that may or may not help me to do anything. But you've got to take the time to research. So ladies, thinking about people who are going to take this pathway to go back to school or to start school, what are some of the things that they do need to look out for? Or how would you coach them on looking for the best school or the best opportunity? What are some, if they were to pull out an Excel sheet, what would their columns need to look like as they begin to look and compare schools to say which one will be the best for me?
The first thing that I do is I advise them to look at the accreditation for the school. First, start with the regional accreditation and make sure that it is an accrediting body that is recognized by the Department of Education. And then we look at the offerings. What exactly is this program? Because there are differences in the informatics program at the University of Tennessee and the informatics program at the University of Alabama. What is it that you want to do? What is your end goal? And then I would ask you to look at the cost. Do you have tuition reimbursement with your current job? Do you plan on getting student loans, or are you going to try to pay for this out of pocket? Again, that is counting up the cost. And then you find the one that's right for you. What are the requirements to get in? Do you have to have a bachelor's degree in a certain field, or will they bring you in with a non-related bachelor's degree and you go through the master's program? There's just a lot of different components, a lot of different things for you to think about. But for me, that accreditation and a reputable program is the most important thing. It's very easy to get into some of the schools that will just let you in because they are an educational institution with a business model. Look for a school that is very strong on academics, but uses the business model, of course, for revenue and program support.
Another thing I think people should also look at is the job placement rate of the institution. I think people oftentimes forget to look at that, and they go into these dazzling careers because of the name tied to it or the position they think it may give, but they don't look at the job placement rate. And so that's one of the first things that I tell people to consider once they have looked at the accreditation, looked at the cost, knowing if you're eligible for financial aid, because some people are maxed out with their money. If they've gone to different schools, you got to be real about those things with people, but also looking at, am I going to be able to have a job, get a job when I get out? Does the Career Development Center at this institution that I'm deciding to go to school provide me with assistance? Do they help me with resume writing? Do they have connections? What does the mentorship look like at my institution? Will I be paired with academic faculty or support staff that can help mentor me and make phone calls that we need? And oftentimes we know that helps people get in the door when you have people on faculty and staff who can write recommendation letters for you and who can make some phone calls for you.
Yeah, and so when people should really reach out to the school, that's what I'm hearing. People should make phone calls. People should connect with the schools on a personal level, like they would be if they were scouting to date someone, essentially, because this is connected, tied to their future, their revenue. So that's what I'm hearing you ladies say, that there needs to be some homework done prior to deciding where you're going to go to school, even as calling and maybe visiting the school and really having conversations about career connections. What are the faculty like? What is the cost? Financial aid. Speaking of cost, we know that education is costly, and you all who are listening to us Facebook Live, please chat, drop in the chat any questions that you may have. So because we're going to get ready to take questions from you, any questions you may have. But thinking about the cost of education, the cost of tuition, the cost of certificates, what are some ways people can do? What are some things that people or avenues people can take to defer the cost or scholarships? So what are some helpful tools that you can give to people that are on tonight that may help them with their cost?
I would always ask them to look to see what institutional offerings, institutional scholarships are available. And then if they are minorities, there are minority fellowships and scholarships that are available, especially for the Southern Regional Education Board here in the Southern states. So I would definitely try to see if I was eligible to use those. I know that for certain fields, for instance, my mother finished her doctorate in nursing years ago. She did not pay a penny for her master's or her doctorate because she agreed that when she finished, she would teach in the state of Mississippi in a nursing school for 5 years. And so they paid for her to go to school. And so anyone that wants to get into a field, I say, look to see if there are any fellowships for minorities or any other, affiliations that will help cover the cost. If you work in an organization and they do tuition reimbursement, take advantage of that. If they will help to cover the cost of your education. If you can avoid student loans, by all means, please avoid student loans. And if you can get the help from either your church, your community, any other sources, that is definitely what I would advise them to do.
Dr. Walker, did you want to share anything regarding educational support, financial support?
Well, I'll say this in terms of certifications, because I know everybody's not prepared to go back to get a college degree. Some people may want to get certification in a particular area. And I've, been doing the research or working with some clients on what this looks like. And there's a lot of opportunity for people to gain certification in areas with scholarships, with minority sponsorship, with educational discounts. Some people already teach and they want to have a second career in a particular field. And so you have to do your homework, you have to do some research, and don't be afraid to get private scholarships and private funding. There are so many opportunities. People are giving money away, especially during this season, to help sponsor minorities, to help sponsor women who want to go back and be retooled. And so you have to do your work and ask questions of the institution, of the school, of the certifying body, wherever you're looking, you need to be able to ask those questions of what funding is available, because a lot of time we miss out on free money because we don't ask.
Right. Good stuff. So, as we begin to wrap up, thinking about retooling, because we've spent a good amount of time talking about schooling, but thinking about retooling in the fashion of certifications and really just getting ourselves together and marketing ourselves. Can you all speak to things like LinkedIn and social media and how to build, and maybe even taking classes through LinkedIn just to get some of those retooling, so that even if they're not able to go and pay for a certification, but talk about some of the things that LinkedIn or other venues offer that may be a lot less expensive, maybe even free, and then building and creating this profile that stands out so that people can see them as they're trying to retool or think about how they move forward.
I'll take that one on first. Listen, okay, I don't know if y'all, most of you on here know that I'm a Gallup certified strengths coach, right? And so my number one strength on the Clifton Strengths Finder is input, which means I take in information like this and I like to give it back out. So I've taken every certification course that was available during the pandemic when we were on lockdown. I got certified to sell insurance. I finished some other certifications. I signed up for a makeup certification course. I learned how to do graphic design. I did our flyer for this event. And so there's just a lot of things that I've picked up on tools and skills. I've taken courses on LinkedIn. I've taken courses that are advertised on Eventbrite. Social media has opened up a world of opportunity for us where you can take classes, you can buy packages on Instagram, and you can market yourself. And so I teach people this often, that there's an opportunity for you to market yourself by yourself. You don't have to spend a lot of money on PR teams and marketing teams, not trying to take anybody's money. But if you don't have the funds to start, there's simple ways to do it. There's some things you may not be able to do, so outsource that work. But the things you're able to do, like making daily posts on Instagram, or making posts on LinkedIn, or figuring out how to stream them all together and using tools like StreamYard, you can start small and take advantage of the opportunities opportunities by retooling. You can start a blog. You can share your things on Pinterest. There's a different way for you to share your interests and share your passion and share what you're selling and what services you provide in simple, affordable ways. But you have to be willing to put in the work and do your homework.
Right. That's true. One of the things that I did is I had a food blog at one time, and the food blog, while I enjoyed it, I really didn't get a lot of traffic to that blog, to that WordPress site. So I started a Facebook page, and it was a Facebook group, in fact. And in 2 years' time, I had over 10,000 followers. And so that gave me the opportunity. I had a landowner that was like, hey, you can use our land and have food truck events. And so now, once a month, I have a food truck event. I was able to find a way to monetize social media and use those skills that I learned. Like you said, that's not something that you had to go to school for. That's something that you use your marketing, your communication skills. Like you said, graphics. I had to learn how to use Canva to make these flyers, to get them out to people and to bring people to the events. Like I'm getting ready for a low country bowl. I don't even eat that food, but I can tell you there are about 600 people that said that they do. And they said that they'll be there on Saturday. So you just use your skills. And when you retool, it's what you can use, what universal skills that you can use that you didn't learn in the classroom, on how to market yourself, on what you learned independently. And even if you did have to, like you said, buy those courses on Instagram or buy those courses through link, or get the ones through LinkedIn or Udemy or Coursera or edX, use those, build your resume, learn how to market yourself and get into places. Amazon, I think there was Amazon that doesn't require a college degree for anything. They just want you to come in with some soft skills, some marketable micro certs and things that you learn about business and communication. You don't have to get a bachelor's degree for that. Certification will get you where you need to go. And just the willingness to put in the time to learn the craft will help you be successful in that.
Wow, that's amazing. That is. Go ahead.
You have to be willing to market yourself. And Canva is life. Listen, it's a free version and you can buy Canva Pro, whatever you want to do. You can become a graphic designer overnight if you need to promote your business at low cost.
There are two things I learned, Canva and Wix. And I had somebody reach out because I did my website for my business, reach out to me and say, hey, can you do a website for me? So I made money building a website on a platform. And I was like, I know what I'm doing. It looks good though. Has all kinds of little videos and stuff on it. That's retooling.
That's retooling. We do have a question, and I want to ask our first question. And the question is, after you retool or school, there is a now what moment. How have you all navigated grounding yourself in what you want for your career and taking those steps as opposed to doing what others say you should do?
Go ahead, Jasmine. I'll let you.
Okay.
Yes.
My now what moment, it comes when you start with the end in mind. You have to start within the beginning of what it is that you want to do. And it's really not about what anybody else thinks that you should do. My mother would have much rather I went to law school. She says that all the time. And I've been in education for almost 20 years, but it was what I decided to do. Whether you decide to go to school or retool, do something that is going to feed, like Dr. Walker said, something that's going to feed your flame, your passion, and what it is that you want to do. So myself navigated, grounding myself in what I want for my career. I just had to make those steps. My second book, Turn It on 10, that is what we talked about. When you figure out what it is that you want to do, what are the 10 steps that you're going to take to get there? And that is a book that I use with high school kids, college kids, and even grown people that don't necessarily know what they want to be when they grow up. You have to figure out and see yourself reaching those goals. So that was what it was for me. I saw myself being in administrative leadership for a program, especially in health information, because that was my passion. And so I needed to do what I had to do to get there through certifications, credentials, and education.
Absolutely. I would second that. About almost probably 18 years ago, I'll never forget, I was in Bible study and I started, the pastor, he was asking people to write down their goals, write down what kind of car you want, write down what you want. Now, this was 18 years ago. I literally had just had my daughter. So I remember because she wasn't even walking at the moment. And I remember writing down things that were aspirational goals, but things that I knew I could achieve, but I didn't know when. And so I think, I can't remember who said it, but basically the saying is, when you love or have a passion for what you do, you'll never work again in life. And
Right.
that's exactly what it feels like. There comes to a point. So the what now is when you get to a place or figuring out, I love this so much, just as Dr. Walker and Ms. Agnew talked about early on about their passion for ministry and ministry even outside of the church, but what that means, ministry for people. They love it. They love it so much, it doesn't feel like work. So where I am in the what now, okay, yes, I've tooled, yes, I've gone to school. There are several times that I've gone, y'all have degrees galore and certification, but it didn't always fulfill me because it was that what now, what next? I didn't get that feeling, but only when I'm able to create and build. I love to create. I love to build new programs. I love to create things for faculty and students. That is the what now. Is like, I don't worry about what now anymore because I'm in a place that I love, and the work I found out what I love and I have a passion for. So I never, yes, am I stressed sometimes? Absolutely. Am I tired sometimes? Absolutely. But the energy I feel, it's a different tiredness. It's a different type of stress because I'm not walking away feeling like I never want to go back. I've been in situations where I have left every single day and was like, I do not want to go back. I don't like this place. I don't like what I'm doing, because I was still in the what now phase. So until I had to work through those what now periods to come to the place where I was passionate about, I loved about, so that I don't feel like I'm working, but I feel like I'm enjoying creating and building for others too, so that I can have an impact, or they can have an impact on others.
Yeah, do what you love and love what you do.
Yes. You, Dr. Walker?
Well, yes, you know what, as an entrepreneur at this stage in my life, I'm sure people are wondering, after so many years in higher education, what are you doing? And I say, living my best life. But, one of the things that I said when I was leaving divinity school, and it was a profound moment for me, because I know I have like a pastoral call on my life, but I do have a pastoral call on my life. But I think that what people struggle with is they've only seen what that looks like based on the template that's been before them. So they've only seen it where there's been a pastor in a physical space at a church, and your name is on the marquee. And, that's been their experience. And I tell people, I pastor people every single day.
Yep.
And you have to be willing to do something that people have never done before. You have to be willing to stretch your imagination in terms of what your call, your passion, and your assignment for life is, and what your purpose is. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people thinking, you got all these educational experience and these degrees and these certifications, and what are you doing with them? I get questions all the time, or I get remarks like, you sure are brave. And I think, but you know what? Every day I wake up, I know I'm living in my purpose, and I'm doing it with great passion, and I don't have any regrets. And so it's wonderful that I'm able to teach people not only how to get in a better position professionally and spiritually, but I'm also teaching people how to live in a place of freedom. And there's nothing like being free to be yourself and do what you're called to do. And so I hope that's a takeaway. If you're retooling or you decide to go to school, make sure it's something that you're passionate about and that you desire to do. And you wake up in the morning and you say, I love going to work. I love doing what I do, and get paid to do it.
Absolutely. That is excellent. Well, do we have any other questions?
Looks like there's another question in the chat. What is the best way to find your niche without job hopping or changing fields often? I'm probably not the best one to ask for that, because I did that. I worked with doctor's offices, insurance companies. I was even an HIM professional for the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So I've done a little bit about everything, but all of those experiences helped me for what I'm doing now. I worked in the field everywhere from the file clerk all the way up to the director's office. And everything that I did, I built on those experiences to get me to where I am now, because I can't educate you on something I've never done before. So I don't think that necessarily changing jobs and exploring avenues is necessarily a bad thing. So, Dr. Walker, I'll let you have that one.
Well, thank you. You know, I don't necessarily see having multiple jobs along your journey as job hopping. It may be a situation where you're trying to find your best fit.
Right.
And it's all about perspective at this point. It can't be, well, I got this job and it didn't work out. Well, no, it didn't work out because it's not your fit, but you gained experience from that.
Exactly.
So you may have been a bank teller, you may have worked in retail, you may have, you know, done any number of things, worked in fast food, worked in all these other areas. But guess what? It taught you great customer service skills. And you're able to use it, because I've done all of those things. I've been a bank teller. I have worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I have worked at Cato Fashions. I've worked at Payless Shoes. All of those things taught me great customer service as I was building towards something else. I knew I loved education when I worked at a summer as a child care center as an assistant teacher. Those were steps along the way. So it wasn't job hopping. Think about it as foundation building. And so that is adding to your skill set, and it becomes transferable skills. And so as you gain more experiences to find your perfect fit, you then learn what you like and what you don't like. It's all about experience. How else will you know if you really like a particular field if you don't have multiple experiences? That life has to be so boring, and I don't know it, because I've had a lot of different experiences. But I also think it's important to take some time to meditate and reflect on the things that you enjoy and see what resonates and most aligned with your spirit and your passion. And so oftentimes people just they need to make a rash decision on getting a job because you need to make money. At some point, and you do, I know there's a phrase, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. That's real. We need to pay bills. We need to make money. But at some point, you have to take some time to have some discernment on what's best for you and what is the best fit in order to move to your next place in life.
Right.
Wow, that is powerful, amazing. Well, it is 7:56, and I certainly hate to stop the conversation, but we only have an hour segment. But this has been amazing. School starts for most people in the fall, August. So August is coming up, like Sunday, August is coming up. And we want to encourage you to think about, how do you retool? Should you go back to school? Should you get a certification? What is it that you want to do? Both Dr. Walker and Miss Agnew, they both have consulting firms. If you want to reach out to either of them, they will drop their information in the chat. If you're not sure what you want to do, reach out to them, talk to a coach. That is what they specialize in. You've heard from them tonight. You have heard them talk about how to go about doing it, but you also need a coach. I didn't get to where I am by myself. I needed help. I needed thought leaders, people who have built foundations, people who have trained to build other people. So I implore you to go and talk to one of these ladies about what's my next move? How do I get to my next place? What steps should I be taking? They know it. They are the industry experts. I am so thankful for you tonight. This has been a wonderful, amazing night tonight. We are back at it. I hope you've enjoyed your 2-month break that we gave you, that you took to do some self-care. And we are so thankful for you following LeadHerSpace. Please share with other women, share with your colleagues, your friends, your sisters, your nieces, your neighbors about the work that we're doing in LeadHerSpace. This stuff is valuable. So I'm going to allow both Dr. Walker and Ms. Agnew to give parting words, but we thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for following us. Dr. Walker.
I'm not sure how I ended up being interviewed tonight, but it was a joy. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, those who joined us. I dropped my information to Walker Vision Consulting in the chat, but I'm going to yield to Reverend Agnew for the remainder of the session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for this opportunity to come. I hope that something that we said or something we shared will help you make a decision to change your trajectory. There's so much that you can do, and there's so many opportunities out there. And the goal is to show those that said you couldn't that you absolutely can.
That is the benediction. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.